The peaceful Xyroth people lived in a distant part of the galaxy, far from the chaos and violence that plagued other worlds. Their planet Xyros was a beautiful blue-green world, full of life and technology that worked in harmony with nature. The Xyroth had lived in peace for thousands of years, never knowing the pain of war. Their technology was advanced, but their philosophy was focused on peaceful coexistence with all other species. They believed in helping others and solving problems through dialogue, not conflict. But even the most peaceful worlds were not safe from those who wanted to take everything for themselves. The Vaxian Empire set its sights on Xeros. Were a ruthless race, known across the galaxy for their aggressive conquests and cold-hearted rule. Their ships were enormous, and their weapons could destroy entire fleets in seconds. The Xyroth had heard of the Vaxian Empire before, but they had never imagined they would face such an enemy. When the Vaxian began their invasion, the Xyroth were caught off guard. Despite their advanced technology, they were not prepared for the overwhelming force the Vaxian brought. The Xyroth tried everything they could to defend themselves. They sent their best diplomats to the Vaxian, hoping to negotiate peace. The Vaxian only laughed at their attempts. The Xyroth used their advanced defense systems to try and block the Vaxian ships, but nothing worked. The Vaxian were too powerful, and the Xyroth were running out of options. In their desperation, the Xyroth did something they had never considered before. They sent out a distress signal. It was a simple message, nothing more than a cry for help. A last-ditch effort to save their people. But there was a problem. The Xyroth never meant to send their message to the humans. They had no idea who or what the humans were. The signal was meant for their allies, other peaceful races in the galaxy. But, by mistake, the message was directed towards Earth. Earth was a small planet, far from the center of the galaxy. To most races, it was nothing more than a distant, insignificant world. The humans were still in their early stages of space exploration, having only recently discovered how to send ships beyond their own solar system. They had no idea that the Xyroth even existed, much less that they were in danger. The humans were not prepared to answer a distress call from an alien race. They had never faced anything like the Vaxian Empire before. But when the message reached Earth, something unexpected happened. A small group of military officers, led by Commander Jake Daniels, noticed the distress signal. Commander Daniels was a tough, no-nonsense leader, known for his quick thinking and unshakable confidence. He had spent years in the military, training the best soldiers Earth had to offer. But even he was surprised when he saw the message. He had heard rumors of the Xyroth, a peaceful species who were said to be technologically advanced and wise beyond their years. However, the idea that they were now facing destruction was shocking. At first, Earth's government was unsure about the message. There were debates in the council chambers about whether they should respond at all. The human leaders feared getting involved in a war they didn't understand, especially with a species they had never met. The Vaxian Empire was known to be dangerous, and many believed the humans were not ready to face such a powerful enemy. But Commander Daniels felt differently. He believed in the strength of humanity. He had seen what humans could do in the face of danger, how they could rise to the occasion and fight for what was right. Daniels knew that if the Xyroth were calling for help, then they needed help, and the humans could be the ones to give it to them. Daniels began to gather a team of experts. He called in the best minds Earth had to offer, engineers, strategists, and military leaders, all of whom had spent their lives preparing for something like this. The team worked day and night to prepare a fleet of ships that would answer the distress signal. These ships weren't anything like the massive Vaxian warships, but they were fast, highly maneuverable, and packed with advanced weapons that were designed to be effective against overwhelming odds. The humans knew they were not prepared for a direct fight with the Vaxian Empire. But they had something that no one else had: determination. The humans were willing to do whatever it took to stop the Vaxian and protect the Zeroth. The message had been received, and now it was time for action. As the fleet was being assembled, Commander Daniels and his team studied everything they could about the Vaxian Empire. They learned about the Vaxian's brutal tactics, their massive warships, and their fearsome weapons. But they also discovered something important. The Vaxian were not invincible. They had weaknesses, just like any other species. The humans just needed to find those weaknesses and exploit them. The decision to send a fleet to the Zeroth was made. Daniels gave the order, and the Armada set out, with a diverse crew of humans, each one trained to fight and defend in space. The fleet traveled through the galaxy, passing by planets and stars they had never seen before. As they approached the Zeroth's homeworld, the crew couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and fear. No one knew what they would find when they got there. The only thing they knew for sure was that they had to be ready for anything. Back on Zeros, the Zeroth waited in fear. Their planet was under siege, and they were unsure how much longer they could hold out. They never expected the humans to arrive. In their minds, they had simply sent out a message to their allies, hoping for a response. The idea that Earth, a distant and seemingly insignificant planet, would answer that call was beyond their understanding. But when they saw the human fleet emerge from the stars, something changed. The Zeroth looked at the ships in awe. The humans were here not as conquerors, but as saviors. The Zeroth could not believe it. They had not expected help from this strange, unknown species. But now they realized that the humans had come for one reason only: to help. The stage was set for an epic confrontation with the Vaxian Empire. The Zeroth and the humans would fight together to protect their worlds. They didn't know how this battle would end, but one thing was certain: the Zeroth were not alone anymore. The human fleet surged through the vast emptiness of space, its engines humming with a steady, rhythmic pulse. Commander Jake Daniels stood on the bridge of the lead ship, the Talon, staring out at the distant stars. There was a strange silence. In the air, an uneasy calm that filled every corner of the ship. The crew knew the mission was crucial, but they had no idea what lay ahead. No one had ever faced the Vaxian Empire before. No one could predict what the outcome would be. The fleet wasn't large by galactic standards. It consisted of just a few dozen ships, but each one was built for speed, stealth, and precision. These weren't the massive, intimidating warships of the Vaxian, but they were fast, agile, and packed with cutting-edge weaponry. The human ships were designed to strike quickly and retreat before the enemy had time to respond. In a way, they were the perfect match for the Vaxians' brute force, which relied on overpowering their enemies through sheer strength. Commander Daniels had spent hours with his team, studying the enemy, knew that the Vaxian would not hesitate to destroy the Zeroth if they had the chance. The humans needed to arrive quickly and disrupt the Vaxian's plans before they could finish their invasion. Every moment counted. As they neared the Zeroth homeworld, the crew aboard the Talon grew more anxious. They had received no word from the Zeroth since the distress signal, and the silence was deafening. Commander Daniels felt the weight of the mission on his shoulders. If they arrived too late, the Zeroth could be wiped out before they even had a chance to fight back. "All systems are green, sir," Lieutenant Lara James reported from her console. "We're on course for the Zeroth system. ETA is approximately 30 minutes. Daniels nodded, trying to keep his thoughts focused. Had no time to doubt their mission. The fate of an entire species rested on their shoulders. He looked around the bridge, meeting the eyes of his crew. Everyone was ready, but there was a tension in the air that couldn't be ignored. It was a tension that came with the unknown. They had no idea what they were walking into. "Prepare the fleet for battle stations," Daniels ordered. "We don't know what we'll find when we get there, but we need to be ready for anything. Stay sharp, everyone." The crew scrambled into action, checking their equipment and ensuring that every system was working at full capacity. A deep breath, and stood up, walking over to the view screen. In the distance, the Zeroth homeworld came into view. It was a peaceful-looking planet, blue and green, with vast oceans and sprawling continents. It almost looked like Earth, but Daniels knew better. The Vaxian would not hesitate to destroy it. "Take us into orbit, Commander," said Captain Rhea Mitchell, seasoned pilot who had flown many missions under Daniels' command. "We'll need to assess the situation before engaging the enemy." Daniels gave a short nod and turned to the crew. "We'll do this by the book. Precision is key. We don't have the numbers to win a slugfest, but we have the brains to win a tactical war. Let's show them what humans are capable of." The Talons slowly approached the planet and the other ships. The fleet followed in formation. Each ship had a specific role to play, from stealth fighters to larger support vessels. As they entered orbit, the crew could see the Zyroth cityscapes below, with lights flickering across the surface. The peaceful planet now seemed strangely vulnerable, as if its very existence hung by a thread. The first thing Commander Daniels noticed was the absence of the Vaxian fleet. There were no large warships in sight, no signs of the chaos that the Zyroth had described. He frowned, confused. Had they arrived too late? Had the Vaxian already wiped out the Zyroth? "Scan the planet's surface," he ordered. "Let's find out where the Vaxian are." The ship's sensors hummed to life, and a series of green dots appeared on the screen, indicating areas of interest. The crew watched in silence as the scans revealed something unexpected: a massive fleet of Vaxian ships, but they weren't on the planet's surface. They were hidden in the dark side of the moon, positioned to ambush the Zyroth if they tried to escape. "They've set up a trap," Lieutenant James said, her voice tight. "They're waiting for the Zyroth to make a move." Daniels clenched his fists. This was what the Vaxian were known: forced, tragic, cold, and calculated. They didn't attack directly. They waited for their enemies to make the first move, and then they struck when it was least expected. "We need to take them by surprise," Daniels said. "Deploy the stealth fighters. We'll hit them before they even know we're here." The fleet moved into position, its ships moving silently through space, out of the Vaxian's detection range. The stealth fighters, small and fast, broke off from the main fleet, their engines powered down to avoid detection. Commander Daniels watched the view screen as the fighters silently glided toward the dark side of the moon, where the Vaxian ships were waiting. "Target their communications," Daniels ordered. "We need to shut them down before they can warn their fleet." The battle began as the stealth fighters engaged the Vaxian ships. The human ships were fast, their advanced technology allowing them to move with a grace and precision that the Vaxian couldn't match. The Vaxian were caught off guard, their ships stumbling to react as the human fleet unleashed a wave of firepower. Daniels watched the battle unfold on the view screen. His crew worked in perfect synchronization, moving from one objective to the next with a focus and precision that could only come from years of training. Every shot, every move was calculated for maximum impact. And yet, even as the human fleet gained the upper hand, Daniels knew this was only the beginning. "We've disabled their communications, sir," Lieutenant James reported, "but they're still launching counterattacks." "It's not over yet," Daniels nodded grimly. "No, it's not. But we've made the first move. Now, we show them what humans are really capable of." The battle raged on as the human fleet continued to outmaneuver the Vaxian, slowly chipping away at their defenses. The Zyroth watched from below, amazed at the skill and speed with which the humans fought. It was as if the humans had come out of nowhere, a mysterious force that had the power to take on the Vaxian without hesitation. But even as the Vaxian began to retreat, Daniels knew that this was just the start. They had won the first round, but the Vaxian Empire was vast and ruthless. They wouldn't stop here. This was a war that would determine the future of not just the Zeroth, but all species in the galaxy. As the human fleet continued its assault, Daniels felt a deep sense of pride in his crew. They were showing the galaxy that humans were more than just a small, insignificant species. They were a force to be reckoned with, and they had just begun to prove it. The battle in the void of space was chaotic. The Vaxian Empire, despite their overwhelming size and strength, were caught off guard. The human ships, small yet deadly, moved with incredible speed and precision, weaving in and out of the larger Vaxian ships. It was a tactic the Vaxian hadn't anticipated a fight, not by sheer force, but by cunning agility. And Speed. Commander Jake Daniels stood at the helm of the Talon, watching as his fleet continued its relentless assault. His heart raced, but his mind stayed sharp, calculating their next move with every passing moment. The Vaxian were powerful, but they weren't invincible. The humans had already managed to disable their communications, but Daniels knew that wasn't enough. They needed to break the Vaxian spirit to show them that they couldn't intimidate the human race. "Lieutenant James, what's the status of their fleet?" Daniels asked, his voice calm but determined. "We've taken out 3 of their main ships, sir," James replied, her fingers flying over her console. "The rest of the fleet is still intact, but they're scattered. They don't seem to know how to handle our tactics. They're regrouping near the dark side of the moon." Daniels nodded. This was their chance. If the Vaxian were gathering in one place, it meant they were trying to form a new strategy. But they wouldn't have time. The humans would strike first. "Prepare all units for another strike," Daniels ordered. "This time we'll target their weapon systems. If we take out their guns, they won't be able to fight back." The crew of the Talon moved quickly, and soon the fleet was ready for its next assault. The human ships, using the cover of the moon, came at the Vaxian from unexpected angles. The Vaxian, too slow to react, found themselves under attack from all sides. Their ships began to fall, one by one. But just as victory seemed within reach, something unexpected happened. A massive ship appeared out of the darkness. It was unlike anything the humans had seen before, towering and vast, covered in jagged metal and powerful weapons. This was a Vaxian flagship, and it was far more advanced than any ship the humans had encountered. The Vaxian had been holding back, saving their strongest vessel for the final confrontation. The moment the flagship entered the fray, the entire human fleet paused. It was clear the Vaxian weren't giving up easily. "Commander, we've got a serious problem," Lieutenant James said urgently. "The Vaxian flagship is charging up its main cannon. If it fires, it'll obliterate our entire fleet in one shot." Daniels felt a knot tighten in his stomach. This was the fight he had feared. The Vaxian weren't just attacking, they were trying to wipe out every human ship in one swift motion. The humans had been quick and precise, but against this kind of firepower, speed wouldn't matter. "All units, we need to disperse now," Daniels barked. "Move, move, move." The human fleet scattered, dodging the incoming blast from the Vaxian. Flagship's main cannon, it was a close call, too close. A few ships were damaged, but most of them managed to avoid the deadly beam. The flagship fired again, but this time the humans were ready. They were spread out, and the Vaxian couldn't hit them all. "We can't keep running forever," Daniels said, his voice calm despite the chaos. "We need to take that flagship out, now." The Talon raced toward the flagship, cutting through the darkness of space like a blade. Daniels didn't hesitate. Knew this was their only shot. If they didn't strike now, the humans would lose everything. "Prepare the main cannon," Daniels ordered. "We're going straight for the flagship's engines." Duh! The Talon's main cannon powered up, its energy humming. With power, Daniels clenched the edge of the command console, feeling the weight of the moment. Every move he made, every order he gave, could determine the fate of the entire fleet. "Ready, sir," Captain Rhea Mitchell said, her hands gripping the controls. "We're locked on," Via Daniels said, his voice unwavering. A powerful blast shot from the Talon's cannon, streaking through the void of space toward the Vaxian flagship. The beam hit its target, the engines of the massive ship, and there was an explosion of light as the Vaxian flagship shuddered. The ship's powerful engines began to sputter, unable to function at full capacity. The Vaxian flagship was crippled, but it wasn't done yet. Remaining Vaxian ships regrouped and began firing at the humans once again. This was the turning point of the battle. The humans had managed to cripple the flagship, but they still had to deal with the remaining Vaxian forces. All ships, focus fire on the remaining Vaxian ships, Daniels ordered, his voice rising with intensity. We can win this. Keep pushing forward. The human fleet responded with a coordinated attack, firing everything they had left. The Vaxian ships began to fall one by one, their shields failing under the relentless barrage. It was clear that the Vaxian were no match for the human fleet's speed and precision. But just as the last Vaxian ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light, something unexpected happened. The Zeroth, who had been watching from the surface of their planet, began to cheer. Their peaceful world, once threatened by the Vaxian Empire, was safe for now. Daniels felt a brief moment of relief. They had done it. The Vaxian Empire had been pushed back, and the Zeroth were safe. But as he watched the remaining Vaxian forces retreat into the darkness of space, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. The Vaxian Empire was vast, and they would not forget this defeat. Commander Lieutenant James said, looking up from her console. We've got incoming communications from the Zeroth. They want to speak with you, Daniels sighed. Grateful for the victory, but mindful of what lay ahead. Put them through, he said. A hologram appeared before him, showing a group of Zeroth leaders, their faces filled with both relief and awe. The Zeroth had not expected the humans to come, much less to fight with such skill and determination. We did not expect this, one of the Zeroth leaders said. We thought we were finished. But you have saved us. How can we ever repay? You, Daniels gave a respectful nod, though he knew this was far from over. We didn't do this for repayment, he said. We did it because it's the right thing to do. But we'll need your help in the future. The Vaxian won't forget this defeat. They'll come back, and when they do, we'll need to be ready. Zeroth nodded solemnly. We will help in any way we can. You have shown us the strength of humanity, and we will not forget this. Daniels turned back to his crew, a sense of pride swelling in his chest. They had faced the Vaxian, the most dangerous empire in the galaxy, and won. But he knew the road ahead would be difficult. This battle was just one step in what would be a long war. But for now, the Zeroth were safe, and the human fleet had proven that even the most powerful empires could be challenged by a determined group of humans. The victory against the Vaxian Empire felt like a dream, but Commander Jake Daniels knew it wasn't over. The battle had been intense, and the humans had emerged victorious, but there was still so much uncertainty ahead. The Vaxian might have retreated, but they would regroup. The galaxy would not forget how the humans had disrupted their powerful empire. And the next time the Vaxian came, they would be even more dangerous. The Talon and the rest of the fleet returned to the Zeroth homeworld, their mission now complete, but there was a sense of unease in the air. The Zeroth, their planet saved, greeted the humans as heroes, but the humans couldn't rest on their laurels. Commander Daniels stood on the bridge of the Talon, staring out at the peaceful blue-green planet below. He could hear the cheers from the surface, but he knew better than to let the victory cloud his judgment. The humans had done the impossible, but they had also made powerful enemies. Daniels knew that the Vaxian Empire would not stop until they had dealt with the human threat. The galaxy was a dangerous place, and humans had just become a major player in the cosmic game of power. All systems are green, Commander, Lieutenant Lara James reported, her voice steady, but Daniels could sense the tension in her tone. We've completed the mission. The Zeroth are safe for now. Daniels turned from the window, his expression serious for now, he repeated. But we can't let our guard down. The Vaxian may have retreated, but this isn't over. We've made our mark. But that's just the beginning. They'll come back, and when they do, we need to be ready. We will be, sir, James said, her eyes locked on his. We've proven we can take them on. The galaxy won't forget what we've done. Daniels nodded. I just hope they remember it in time. The bridge was quiet for a moment as the crew processed the weight of his words. The battle was won, but the war was far from over. As the humans had discovered, when you made a mark in the galaxy, you attracted attention from both allies and enemies. Commander Daniels, you have a message from the Zeroth leaders, the communications officer announced. Daniels straightened. He'd expected a message, but he wasn't sure what to expect. After all, the Zeroth had been on the brink of Destruction just hours ago. Now, they had to face the reality of what the human intervention meant. The Zyroth had been saved, but the consequences were only beginning. "Put it through," Daniels said, his voice calm but firm. The hologram appeared, showing the faces of several Zeroth leaders, their expressions a mix of gratitude and concern. Their once solemn features had softened somewhat, but the wariness still lingered in their eyes. Daniels understood. After all, the Zyroth had just barely avoided extinction. Now, they had to figure out how to deal with this new reality. "We are grateful, Commander Daniels," said one of the Zyroth leaders, a tall figure with silver-gray skin and bright blue eyes. "We did not expect such a force to come to our aid, but you have saved us. You have given us hope. We owe you a debt that can never be repaid." Daniels nodded, acknowledging their thanks. "You don't owe us anything. We fought because it was the right thing to do, not for rewards. But now that we've won, there's something we need to discuss. The Vaxian won't forget this defeat. They're going to regroup, and they'll be back. We need to work together if we're going to survive their next attack." The Zyroth leaders exchanged glances, the weight of Daniel's words sinking in. Finally, the leader with silver-gray skin spoke again. "We agree. The Vaxian will not take this defeat lightly. They have vast resources and powerful allies. But we will stand with you, Commander. We have the knowledge, and we have the strength. We are prepared to offer everything we can to defend our world and the galaxy." Daniels felt a surge of pride at the words. The Zyroth had just witnessed humanity's ability to fight, to protect what was important, and now they were offering their help. It was a moment of unity, a rare and precious thing in a galaxy often ruled by conflict. "We're not in this alone," Daniels said. "We'll need everything you've got, and we'll give everything we have in return. This won't be easy, but we'll face it together." Zyroth nodded in agreement, their determination clear. "We will begin preparations immediately. Our resources, technology, and knowledge are at your disposal." "Good," Daniels said. "We'll need to start building a defense system, one that can stand against the Vaxian's might. We've got some ideas back on Earth, but we're going to need all the help we can get." "Consider it done," the Zyroth leader replied. "We will also send a representative to Earth to begin discussions on how we can coordinate our efforts." Smiled, feeling a rare sense of hope. Despite the danger that lay ahead, the humans weren't alone. They had made allies, and the Zyroth were now their partners in the fight. This was the power of humanity, not just in their ability to fight, but in their ability to inspire others to join them. As the communication ended, Daniels turned to his crew. "Get ready, everyone. The Vaxian will be back, and when they are, we'll be ready. It's time we fight together and we win together." The Talon and its fleet remained in orbit around Zeros, the crew preparing for the next phase of their mission. In the days that followed, the humans and Zeroth worked side by side, exchanging knowledge, technology, and strategies. The Zyroth shared their most advanced defense systems, while the humans taught them new combat tactics. Honed from years of surviving in a brutal galaxy, but even as the alliance between the humans and the Zyroth strengthened, shake the feeling that the Vaxian Empire was already plotting their revenge. The humans had won one battle, but the war was far from over. The galaxy was a vast and dangerous place, and the human race had just become a significant player. Commander Daniels knew that humanity's future would depend not only on their strength and courage, but also on their ability to inspire others to fight alongside them. The Zyroth were just the beginning. The calm that settled over Zeros after the battle was deceptive. Commander Jake Daniels knew that, despite the victory, the Vaxian Empire was still a looming threat. The alliance between the humans and the Zyroth was new, but it was a powerful one. They had just defeated one of the galaxy's most fearsome forces together. But Daniels understood all too well that this was only the beginning. As the humans and Zyroth continued to work together, building defenses and preparing for the Vaxian's return, a feeling of unity grew between the two species. The Zyroth, once isolated and focused only on peace, now found themselves learning the art of war from the humans. The humans, in turn, marveled at the Zyroth's advanced technology and vast knowledge. It was clear that this new partnership had the potential to reshape the galaxy in ways no one could have predicted. On the Talon, Daniels and his team were making the final preparations for the next phase of their mission. The fleet had spent weeks training, learning new tactics, and integrating the Zyroth's technology into their own systems. The atmosphere on the ship had shifted from uncertainty to determination. They were no longer the underdogs. They were a force to be reckoned with. "We're ready, Commander," Captain Rhea Mitchell reported from the control room. Her voice steady, but filled with the weight of their shared responsibility. "The fleet is equipped with the Zyroth's energy shields and improved weapon systems. We've got the edge now. We just need to make sure we're ready for when the Vaxian come." Daniels nodded, his eyes focused on the stars outside the window. "We've got one shot at this, Captain. If we fail, we risk everything: the Zyroth, Earth, the entire galaxy. We can't afford to underestimate the Vaxian." The door to the bridge slid open and Lieutenant Lara James entered, holding a data pad. She approached Daniels, her expression tense. "Sir, we've intercepted a Vaxian communication. They're regrouping. The Vaxian Empire has called for reinforcements from across the galaxy. It looks like they're preparing for another large-scale invasion. They're not giving up." Daniels sighed, feeling the weight of their situation. "I knew it wouldn't. Be easy," he muttered, "but we'll be ready. Zyroth have given us the tools we need. Now it's time to show the galaxy what humanity is made of." The communication from the Vaxan Empire had confirmed the worst and even larger Vaxan fleet was on its way to the Zyroth system. The humans in the Zyroth had to act fast. There was no time to waste. The joint forces immediately began finalizing their plans. The humans would lead the charge, using their speed and agility to strike at the Vaxion's weak points, while the Zyroth would provide the technological edge, enhancing the human ships with their advanced weaponry and shields. In the days that followed, the human fleet and the Zyroth forces moved into position. The Alliance had created a new type of warfare, one based on precision, intelligence, and speed, rather than brute strength. The Vaxian were formidable, but their arrogance would be their downfall. The humans knew how to fight smart, and they had proven it in the first battle, as the human fleet prepared to launch its final strike. Commander Daniels stood on the bridge, staring out into space. The vastness of it all reminded him how small they were in the grand scheme of things. But in that moment, Daniels realized something. Humanity had always been underestimated, both by the galaxy and by the Vaxian. They had proven that they could take on a galaxy-spanning empire, not because of their size or strength, but because of their resolve, their determination to never give up. "All ships, we're going to hit them hard and fast," Daniels said, his voice calm but filled with authority. "We can't afford a long fight. We strike first, we strike fast, and we finish this." The crew responded with a unified "Aye, Commander," their faces set with determination. "Launch the fleet," Daniels ordered. The Talon and the human ships broke away from Zyros and moved toward the vast, dark void of space. The Vaxian fleet was waiting on the other side of the galaxy, but the humans and the Zyroth were prepared to meet them head-on. Every ship in the human fleet had been upgraded with the Zyroth's technology, from their energy shields to their weapons. The Zyroth had also shared their knowledge of Vaxian tactics, giving the humans a much-needed advantage. The first signs of the Vaxian fleet appeared on the horizon, a series of massive warships, each one bristling with weapons and shields. Vaxan had not expected a fight like this. They thought they were invincible. But the humans had something they didn't: the ability to adapt, learn faster than any other species. The battle began as the two fleets collided. The Vaxian unleashed a barrage of laser fire, their massive ships firing in unison. But the human fleet was faster, dodging and weaving in ways the Vaxian couldn't predict. The Zyroth's shields held strong against the Vaxian's initial onslaught, and the human ships retaliated with precision strikes, taking out the Vaxion's weapon systems one by one. "Commander, the Vaxion flagship is moving into position," Lieutenant James called out. "They're targeting the Zyroth homeworld." Daniel's eyes narrowed. "Not on my watch. All ships focus fire on the flagship." We're not letting them get away with this. The Talon and the rest of the fleet locked onto the Vaxian flagship, unleashing everything they had. The Vaxian flagship was massive, but it wasn't as nimble as the smaller human ships. The Talon darted in and out of range, avoiding the flagship's weapons while firing at its weak points. The Xyroth ships joined the assault, their advanced energy beams slicing through the Vaxion's defenses. The flagship fired back, its main cannon charging up for a devastating shot, but the humans in Xyroth were ready. The Talon veered to the left, just as the Vaxian flagship released its blast. The shot missed, and the human fleet pressed the attack. The flagship's shields faltered, and its engines began to spark. It wasn't long before the flagship exploded in a burst of light, sending debris scattering through space. The Vaxian fleet, now leaderless, faltered. The remaining ships tried to regroup, but they were no match for the combined might of the humans and Xyroth. One by one, the Vaxian ships fell, their shields failing under the relentless assault. "Victory is ours," Daniel said, his voice filled with pride. He looked around at his crew, his friends, and the Xyroth, who had fought beside them. They had done it, but even as the battle ended, Daniels knew the war was far from over. The Vaxon Empire might have been defeated here, but they would return. When they did, humanity would be ready. The alliance between the humans and the Xyroth was strong, and it was just the beginning. Together, they would face whatever the galaxy threw. At the end, they would win.